minutes from the previous meeting. We have a motion for approval. So, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Financial, February, you want to move that one?
Yes, sir.
So I'll drive stuff on the screen and also you have a hard copy. Okay. Not a lot of change, you know, that we've been talking about in the first 7 months, which is the 8 months. On the revenue side, we're unfavorable year to date, 1.36 million on a budget of 52.5 million. During the month of February, we have exhausted the program PM Flex, so that's not in there, as well as we have some state revenues for reimbursement that we have to build up big nation. So not really concerned about the deficit this month versus budget. What's driving this is favorable federal funds revenue, about $567,000. That's primarily been driven by utilization of market funding for operator training, wages, as well as utilizing the lifts for capital needs. We only have 3 trainees in the month of February, so it's negligible, but the cumulative year to date was about $1.6 million that we had reimbursed with ARPA to offset the operator wages. So that was the reason the majority of the overperformance favorable. Also contributing is the directly generated funds are favorable about $172,000. That's primarily interest income offset by the unfavorable advertising. As well as any year in local, as you recall that we had budgeted the trip match contribution from the GRTC reserve. So cumulatively now, that's about $1.13 million, and slightly unfavorable to state funds and pension funds. Relative to the budget reimbursements for some of the microtransit trip and demo grants. On the expenditure side, we're favorable $6.07 million on the budget of $53.95 million. Primarily, the largest contributor of that is variable services, which is $4.405 million. It's just due to planning projects. There's a whole list of them that were contemplated in the budget calendarization to be underway sooner than they are. They will be done. It's just a timing issue. These are basically north-south BRT environmental clearance section design, western BRT part 2 extension, the microtransit demo grant, which is starting to incur expenses, but we still have more to come as we start advertising for those. Favorable materials and supplies. This is 1.77 million. This is about half of it's in the fuels and lubricants. We're a little more pessimistic in the cost that we would get for fuels and lubricants than the reality. And the balance, the tires and tubes is starting there about $237,000. That's probably the pricing of the new contract in June and July of 23. And yet the balance is $750,000 is other materials and supplies of fuels and parts sections. We're buying less parts than was contemplated. In addition to this, we also have a favorable utility about $160,000. That's due to the corrections on the GRTC water consumption in addition to include as more credit, which is basically lion's share of why that's favorable year to date. There are going to be some additional adjustments and conversations, but we straighten out our gas bill, and we still are going back with our water bill. We think we're in a good position. We're also favorable in the insurance premiums since operating 66,000. This is a combination of favorable renewals versus budgetary assumptions, as well as we haven't provided for uninsured motorists. And this is offset by unfavorable labor. And I know that we had talked in previous sessions, due to the FTEs being higher than what was contemplated in the budget. At the end of February, we're at about 338.5 full-time equivalents versus the budget of 300. Plus, we had obviously in the expense line item, the whole trainees that got us up to that point. So at the end of February, we had 325 full-time operators, 27 part-time, which is 38.5, and we had 3 trainees still on the books at that point. So when you look at the operations labor is unfavorable by 1.256 million for vehicle operations, and that's being offset by general administration favorable labor variance of 1.122, and vehicle maintenance and facilities unfavorable by 184,000. So 3 combined net to I've never been told that I'm self-filled. So. Increase the volume. The other unfavorable variance kicking in for the month that's offsetting partially is unfavorable purchase transportation, and this is driven by demand. Versus budgets of 480,000. No, a lot. Okay, that's all like. Yeah, I mean, if you did, right? It's on. It's right there.
Barely here. It works, but not getting much.
Yeah. And that could be an operator. Getting there. Yes.
You did for a purpose. You did this.
Yeah. So that's the high level overview. I can go through some further detailed schedules if you like, or have any questions on that. The other schedules that we added here are cash flow. Balance sheet, just some brief comments on that. Balance sheet right there. Trends from June 30, 2023, we're showing an increase in total assets of about $11 million, which is, you can see here, is being driven up by about $5.2 million in receivables, which basically offsets our decreasing cash from the $12 million. So we, as I mentioned before, that we have to get some reimbursements from the state about the other increase primarily driven in the net property. That's just the capitalization of rolling stock and capital units. So as you can see, the restricted funds, the CDTA has increased by about $5 million. This is basically the revenues that are from the cash that's coming in from monthly distributions. All in all, the balance sheet is still strong. We will obviously receivable balance. Federal receivables are the next day, so part of that will come in as around $4 million and $5 million. All in all, they're strong position. On the cash flow statement, you can see here at the end of February about $1.587 million, and you can see looking forward, we're in the we're out to close March, so that's pretty much a good estimate. But in April, you can see that we have our quarterly CDTA funding as well. We're expecting potential part of the federal reimbursements, so the combination of two there, $4.3 million as well as the state. Primarily, a little bullish by putting 1.75 million in April. The balance state and that for grant reimbursements. Quarterly contributions from the 3 jurisdictions, forecasting that to be in the main receipt. As you can see, obviously at the end of February, $1.5 million. We hit, at the end of the quarter, we're kind of our lowest balances, and then we jump off, and then with the receipt of the cash, and then we should have a good financial position cash-wise.
And you got me off track.
You have a question?
Next schedule is the CDTA quarterly schedule. So this is through the quarter ending March 31st. Part of our reporting obligations due by May 15th. So this will be filed in advance of the deadline. So the takeaways here, as you can see on the top of the receipts, pretty strong receipts: 2.75 million, 2.95. And then 2.588 million. This is the actual local receipts of December, which is the low point 12-month cycle. So not really concerned about the decrease. It mirrors the two previous years. You can see healthy investment returns. Treasury sweep is averaging about 518 basis points, and the eligible was about 436 basis points in the month. See, probably lower CPIU, a little bit of, inflation was hotter than expected, so the rate cuts are pushed off, so we should still be able to enjoy the higher interest rates a little bit longer, at least probably through September. Let's start contemplating some cuts. During the quarter, funding the projects, $20,251, and then you can see the third quarter funding for the operations and the capital. All in all, we end the quarter with $44.379 million in these CBTA funds, and you can see here in the middle, about 20.9, almost 21 million of it is in Wells Fargo in sweep, as well as in the eligible EF, about 23.4 million. So when you look down in the bottom box here, you can see we have, top box, we have $43.67 million that are available for the remaining fiscal 24 and 25 operating expenses. Obviously, we're going to utilize 5.8 million of that 43 million for the fourth quarter, which was moved over on the first. So roughly about $38 million for 25, which is more than what we contemplated. So we've got two fiscal year 25 funds in house. So not a lot of new things that occurred in February versus the prior months, but we're still following the path. Nothing to be concerned about. Close out.
Anybody have any questions? Draft budget book review. That's good.
Hey, Jim, I don't know if you can hear us or not, but we're having a hard time here. And I don't know if you asked us if we had any questions or not.
I did ask if you had any questions. Steve? Can you hear me?
No.
Can you hear me now? No.
No. No, Dan and Tara. Hey, Dan, I'm gonna put y'all on speaker now, in case you wanna act. Dan, can you hear me?
Calling to do the same thing. Go ahead. He's doing that. Okay.
All right. I'm gonna send a text to see that y'all can hear him.
We can hear him. Does he have any questions?
Yeah, Dan, can you hear me? Yeah. Yep. No, but they're saying if you have any questions, you can ask them. They heard you just make comments. So ask you, could hear you. Oh, I'm gonna put y'all speaker down.
What's it? Because it should be.
He's not here. Dan,
Yeah, I can do that, but I can't, I can only hear it through the phone. And John, can you hear me?
yeah, he did.
All right, the only question I had was, there was a lot of, it was like 6.1 in favorable on the operating expenses that you showed, which is a lot. And you said most of it was timing, the 4.4 million and the other.
Yeah.
By my math, when that comes back in timing wise, you're right on budget. Does that seem to be about right? It looks like it's going to be 52 to 53 million year to date. And with revenues being down, I mean, I'm just asking, are you still tracking favorably to end on budget?
I think we're tracking. So yeah, I think we are tracking favorable. There are a bunch of reimbursements on the Chris side that have not been realized. So we've incurred the expenses for the micro transit, and we just started the other lines in March. So as well as we just started the billing and the invoice for the one-day extension from Chesterfield, which is reflected in February, but there's some revenues that are going to come in that are not reflected. So I'm not sure if the entirety of that $4.4 million favorable planning is going to be spent between now and June, because like some of that will often fall to the bottom line this year.
All right. All right. And last question. Have we ever had a $3 million CVTA month?
No, we've been close.
Because I saw 2.9.
Yeah, 2.9 is up around there. Yes, there was one, but it was when they had some sort of, one of the months was lower. They had some issue with the sales tax receipts, and that one was 3.2. That was not.
All right. Thank you.
All right, so what I've got up here is the PowerPoint for the proposed operating budget. So this is very the same format as what we've been going through before. So there's really no change here on the staffing assumptions. That's been consistent. What has changed since the last time that we've gone through this is on facility maintenance. Now we're reflecting the shelter cleaners, 4 positions they joined the collective bargaining unit. So we've updated the budget for fiscal 25 to reflect their participations in the budget and in the bargaining, excuse me. So that from the environment, there was about $287,000 in union wages, and we've adjusted for the benefits and everything else supported for the pension. So that was not that material Also on the non-budget, non-CDU headcount, we went through and we've added some interns and so forth, but not a whole materiality large amount of change. We've also gone through and we've updated for our open enrollment and pricing for the medical, so that's been updated and reflected here. The revenue hours, revenue miles are consistent with prior assumptions that we had. This is the medical benefit increase portion is the same. So all in all, with that, you know, we are looking at, we kind of broke this out as a proposal. We're looking at combined baseline and grant funded expenses around $87.6 million. This is reflective of, you know, in grant funded projects, this is the continuation of the GRTC trip and program for that, and the continuation of the other slide. So basically, this is the grant reimbursed expenses that are included in our operating budget. The yellow ones I have not put in there as one of the items that are open. We're anticipating on April 16th to get the final awards from DRPT, so we'll know what it was been exactly awarded. So we'll crystallize that and include that in the next version that we send out. Because the plan is to circulate on probably the 17th or the 18th, the completed and updated budget book with all the finalized grant awards from DRPT, circulate that to the entire board, and then we'll utilize our May 9th finance committee meeting to go through in depth. We're open to all members if anyone has any questions, so that we can set ourselves up to have it May board meeting adoption. You can see here, there's about $13 million worth of operating grants that are in there, operating software. So the other key item, you know, we talked briefly on it at the board meeting, but the CPIU number was finalized. The February number came in. So the actual change is 3.15 million. We had preliminary were utilizing a estimate or holding of 3%. So just slight modification. I did email out schedules to each of the towns with the final calculation. So they were each town has received this schedule such as this for their own piece. Obviously, we're in the, you know, from the revenue standpoint, it's a balanced budget of $87.5 million. See the breakout between the baseline fundings as well as the contributions. So feel free to look at that. And in addition, everybody has, this is the draft of the book that we will be circulating to the entire board after the April 16th meeting. We'll have a much nicer cover. This is just a core finance attempt just to get it done there. And there will be a introduction statement put in there. So the highlights in the way this flows is obviously historical of who's on the board, table of contents is accurate. There'll be an introductory statement, and then we go through and we provide a glossary of all the acronyms that we throw around. And starting on page 5 with the introduction that will be placed in. And then we start with the high-level operating budget by source, so this, you can see the different pie charts, and then also we go through the narratives of, you know, table what it is, but then we go through the narratives as to explaining what the different revenue operating contributions are. And you go through the same revenue with the operating expenses. And obviously, one of the largest things here is the driving of our wages and benefits. Based on the collective bargaining contract as well as the increase in medical costs. So we go through, you know, summary by category and then by department. And then we show our staffing. So collectively, we're going from, you know, authorized headcount of 524 up to 590. So that's 66 headcount increase. As you can see that a significant piece of that is in the collective bargaining staff going from 350 to 414. So 64 headcount increase there. And from a professional salary, 5 headcount increase. Part-time. But you can see here's a list of, you know, currently we have 46 vacant positions. Glossary of what's there, but this will also be updated one last time as, you know, as we get closer to April 16th, just to reflect what our actual vacancies are. Then there's going through the book, you know, by each section, there's a table in here that shows comparative of the fiscal 22, 23 actual as well as the 24 adopted for our proposed 25 budget is with some high level narratives as to what changed. For each department, very similar, you'll see headcount of full-time and part-time, and then listing of all the authorized positions for each of the departments. So I'll call out here, executive. You can see here the chief development officer is currently vacant. So we'll update that. So each, you can see what are the vacancies by which authorized position each support. For every one, I think I'm probably go through the transportation one and make because those are the most significant. So in here, reflecting a total collective bargaining unit headcount of 355, so that's 300 30 microtransit. See, we currently have existing staff of 346, so they're going to be pushed into different positions. And part-time, we have reduction in part-time staff as well as increase in 2 supervisor vacancies. This is reflecting of what our costs associated with this are reflecting the wages of the contract. So you can see, you know, currently the majority of the vacancies that we have. 325 full-time operators, 30 microtransit, and 22 part-time operators. With transportation supervisors going, so 3 vacancies, and 2 additional support to operations. So when you look at the budget comparison, you can see it's almost a $4.5 million increase, a $4.4 million increase on the salary and wages driven by the incremental headcount, obviously commensurate with FICA and unemployment taxes. Healthcare, you can see with the rate and volume, a significant increase, as well as the retirement benefits. There is year 2 of the contract, which starts October 1st, 2024. GRTC's direct defined benefit contributions going from 15 to 15. So that's also contributed to that. And also you see care on demand, they're up higher than 24. As you can see, we're running unfavorable 418,000 through 8 months. So we kind of took a harder look at that number and increased it there. So overall, there's almost a $7.6 million increase in the transportation, a good piece of our budget. Going further on back in the book, following transportation, to get to the capital budget. So a little explanation of our capital budgeting process. Detail listing all the capital projects that we put in through our GRTC application at the end of January. It's broken down into safety and regulatory major categories, and then on the last page, summarized in the table, that would be basically a resolution. So all in all, the capital budget, 55.8 million, of which the majority of it is state of the air, 60% of it, 32.76 million. Expansion development, 14 million. Safety and regulatory is always important, 2.2 million. Business improvements, 4.4, and service enhancements, 2 million. So all the detailed write-ups of so we'll make sure that everybody has this in a timely manner, released 1 month before the adoption. And finalize and update this, may not to go through any specific questions. And as well as questions.
Dan, can you hear us?
Probably in their back.
Again, can you hear us?
Yeah, actually, it's perfect.
I think if you mute yourself, Dan, then we can play you over the speaker on the cell phone, and we should be able to do it without.
I think we need to do.
Yeah, it's like it's an IT experiment over here. If I lower the audio on the phone, I can't hear you. But if I speak into it, I get feedback. But I heard it perfectly. I have no questions. Thank you, though.
All right, thank you. We can hear you, but you can hear us. Anybody else have any questions? All right. CBTA FY25 budget recommendation approval, which is not on the original agenda, but I took delivery of adding it.
Yes.
Dan and Tyrone, I know you can hear us. When we have a copy of this, I'll make sure you get it today of this action item that they're going to vote on now.
You want to take a picture of these real quick and text them to me? Just get everything from them.
I'll start going through. All right, this is our annual requirement for a regional transportation plan, which more or less takes the form of a memo, goes to our board for approval, and then recommendation for CBTA for approval. It's an update on FY24. Our plan back then was to get enough operators to think about expansion. There were expansion lists as well as quick service back in. We know that we did well with hiring operators, and we were able to successfully do some expansion initiatives in FY 24, which included my. So for the FY 25 plan, the main ask of CDTA funds is to maintain our current service levels for without expansion, as well as to fund our capital projects. Those who have forms can jump to the summary page, either on the back or table or page 4. Our total expected allocation for FY 24, and as you remember, we always use the year before, so all FY 24 funds are what would fund FY 25, is 30.8 million. And so 24.5 million will go towards existing operations. About $1 million would go towards the 2% match required of the 4% total match for GRTC funds, for a total requested need of 25.5 million. That leaves a delta of about 5.3 million. So the ask is to put the remainder into the CDTA reserve, and would come back to request for possibly next year for approval for maintenance and service and useful expansion initiative. And recommendations on the back.
It's also recommended by the development committee, so it went to the development committee, and the development committee unanimously approved it to the finance committee.
I think we're there.
No.
The people here.
You know what we-
Whoa. Whoa.
Let me see. Let me somebody here.
Any questions? Dan? I know you don't have, you might be just getting it, but y'all have any questions? You're good? All right. Anybody else have anything else that they want to bring up? Oh, I'm sorry. Need a motion to approve recommending the CBTA plan to the full board. Dan seconded it. Thanks, Dan. All in favor? Aye. All right, anybody else have anything? Thank y'all, appreciate it.